Yo, what's good, YouTube? This is Jay from Ncaa, and welcome back to the Cocoa Beach Rockets Dynasty here as we wrap up season number 1. What a season it has been here, and now here we come to the end. As Rondre Bamaye last episode in his first career start actually didn't look too bad. I mean, to be honest, he extended plays. He made throws. It wasn't pretty all the time, but his accuracy rating is really low, but his mobility really does show up when he needs to. I think that's the big difference between him and Caesar Winston. It's the obvious mobility. Now, going into this last game, our receivers actually got a pretty big boost. Look at this. Awareness went up for every single guy, and that's what I like about these old games. They don't just progress with awareness, they also progress with like catching and sometimes even in rare cases speed, but acceleration for sure. But you know, I am just excited to get into season number 2, to be honest. We've had a rough year, and that's an understatement. We have not won a conference game, and we are actually battling relegation. There is a possibility that the NCAA could kick us out of this conference in favor of an independent. Then we will have to earn our way back. So we go up against UTEP in the final game. They are actually ranked in the bottom 100 as well, below 100, I should say. So let's see if we can get our first conference win. This is the last game of the season, and Holt gets us underway as we are at home as well. And back to receive the kickoff is Walker. Hopefully no kick returns for touchdowns this game. That's what I'm hoping for. Walker takes it back to the 33-yard line. So he starts it out with the pitch as he gets the next carry, and that's going to be about a gain of 3. How about the season that Vincent Showcross is putting together, though? If there's one bright star on this team, it's definitely Showcross. So McDaniel from the shotgun throws deep down the right side, and he's got Matthews already. It's a touchdown. Oh, my goodness. We cannot play good football consistently at all. I mean, we just need to come up with some consistency. That time it's LaDavian Richendaler giving up the big play. So now we start on offense, and Bamaye gets his second straight start as he hands it off to Wilson Caesar, picking up a gain of 5. So here's Bamaye throwing to the right side. He's got Avery White, who can't hold on to that throw. And that brings it to a 3rd and 5 now under center. Here's Bamaye. He's got space. He's going to take off here, try to get to the first down, and he gets caught up. But he does pick up just enough. But take a look. Bamaye is shaking up on the play. You've got to be kidding me. In comes Winston, who's going to hand the ball off to Drackett on the first play, and he picks up a gain of 10 yards. Great hole that time, as we did bench Wilson Caesar Jr. last week, and we played Drackett a little bit, and both of them ended up fumbling. I think Drackett fumbled once, Wilson Caesar fumbled 3 times. So now here we are back in the game as Bamaye at the 44, 2nd and 7. Under center this time, 2 tight ends on the field. Takahashi at tight end, throwing to the right side, and it is incomplete. Not even close. So 3rd and 7, play action fake this time. Bamaye buying some time. He's going to stop and throw across the middle, and that one was behind both of the receivers in that area, and that ends up being a punt. So here is UTEP back on offense. This is a screen pass. It looked like maybe a little bubble screen called for Smith, and that's a tackle by Trayvon Scott. That's a loss of 5 yards. So 2nd down. Here's a jet sweep this time called by UTEP, and Higgins picks up a lot of yards on that one, 13, 14 yards. Goldenberg is shaken up on that play as well. So 3rd and 2, they line up in the goal line set, play action fake, throwing across the middle, and they convert. Even on a 2nd and 15, they still get enough for the first down after 2 straight plays. That was enough for 2 first downs on that throw. So now here they are inside just about the 30-yard line. Quick throw, and it's picked off. Vincent Showcross, and he fumbles. And picked up by Tesla Akinola. Well, I mean, even when we make the good plays, some weird stuff happens. Vincent Showcross caught it, and then gets absolutely laid out. But we do recover it. But wow, how about Vincent Showcross this year? He's been our bright star. That's his 5th interception of the season. So here we are back on offense, handing the ball off to Wilson Caesar Jr., and he picks up just a gain of 3. So now here we go on a third down. Throw to the sideline to Takahashi. That is overthrown, and that one will result in a punt. So here's UTEP back on offense. Here's a handoff to Walker. He finds some room up the middle and picks up about a gain of 9 yards, moving the chains. Now he's close to the 50 on that carry. Starting the second quarter now, still a 7-point game. Here's a handoff. Walker makes a man miss in the hole, and he takes off, and he picks up a block downfield, and that's going to be another score for Walker. It's a touchdown. UTEP leads by 2 scores now. What a run by Walker. Nice move in the hole as well, making a man miss. It's 14-0. So now I start the next drive, this time trying to hand the ball off to Wilson Caesar Jr. He gets tattooed in the hole. So now it's 3rd and 11. We got a screen pass called. Toss out to Wilson Caesar. He cuts back inside, tries to cut back out, but can't find the lane, and he gets hit. Only a gain of 5 and a 3-and-out right back to UTEP. So here's the offense backing onto the field. This is McDaniel throwing from under center to the right side. He's got Walker pushed out of bounds, and that's just a gain of 1. So now 2nd and 8, this time running his man in motion. This is a throw across the middle, picked off again by Showcross. He's going to take off, and he does get to the 40. Take a look at this play. Showcross is just in the right place at the right time. This throw is actually off of the offensive lineman's back and just bounces off perfectly right to Vincent Showcross. If Showcross had speed, that one could have been a pick 6. So now we have to score on this drive. We're set up with great field position. Here's a counterplay to the right side, and Wilson Caesar's off to the races. He's got speed inside the 10, pushed out at the 4. 1st and goal. Finally a big play here in this game for our offense and defense back to back. And Wilson Caesar has the speed. He gets inside the 5. So here is Caesar this time, handoff up the middle and makes a move. It's a touchdown. It feels like we haven't scored in forever, to be honest. How about that move on the inside by Wilson Caesar as well, getting in? And it's now back to a 7-point game here. As now let's see if we can come up with our 3rd turnover, maybe even the 3rd interception of the game for Showcross. Here's a throw on the first play, and it's going to be sharp wide open. Touchdown. We actually accidentally run commit at the last second. We were trying to move our line, but we did not hit L1 in time, and that ended up being a commit instead, and a blunder of a play. 21-7 going into halftime. So here we are, start the second half. Here's a deep shot already on a play action, and Mamaye misses Takahashi, overthrown on that play, and it brings it to a 3rd and 7. Here's Bamaye this time running the speed option. He takes to the right side and gets stopped. Maybe a gain of 2 on that one. And we tried to catch him off guard with the option. Ends up being a punt. So here is UTEP back on offense. They haven't done too much. Joe Walker had that big long run and that blunder of a play before the end of the first half. But then here they are back on offense once again after another 3-and-out. Handoff. Tyler gets the carry, and he takes it all the way. That is the tight end that time at fullback. He gets the fullback dive, takes it all the way. At first, I was like, that fullback is too fast, but it's the tight end, number 86. Number 86, he goes for 42 yards off of 1 carry. 28-7. This game has opened up just like that. So here's Bamaye back onto the field. This time, scramble to left side, and that is a good scramble of 10 yards, getting away from the pressure on the right edge. And he picks up about 10 yards. So 1st and 10, play action. Fake in the pressure. That was a perfect blitz for that play call. They must have saw what we picked on that play. It's now a 2nd and 14. So here's Bamaye, counterplay to the right side. This worked earlier, and Caesar actually loses a yard on that play, bringing it to a 3rd down play. Here is pressure off the right edge again, and another sack given up by our offensive lineman. We had no chance on that one. We tried to just drop back and throw the ball, but we had no chance, and now we have to punt the ball away. So we're showing a punt here. Here's Walker. Here he gets the ball, and look at this. Wide open lane. He hesitates for a second, and he goes untouched. Touchdown. It's not a Cocoa Beach game, season number 1, if we don't give up a special teams touchdown. It's now 35-7. And now here we are down 38-7. 3 minutes left here in the 4th. This game has got way out of hand. And here's Drackett in at running back. We're going to throw off our back foot, and the pressure was right there. Interception, pick 6. That's how this season is going to go. I mean, it is just not – we're just not, as talented. That's just what we have. Even Bamaye, as good as he played the last couple games, that last game just now was a little bit shaky, but he made some throws, but not too many, to be honest. And honestly, every team we've went up against has just been dominant versus us. We have just not been able to get our footing right this season, and that's just been kind of the story. We've been underdogs in every single game. We were even underdogs in that Columbia game, believe it or not. We still ended up winning it, but we ended up with 1 win this season. And honestly, the only bright spot I guess we've had a couple on defense. I don't want to go that far, but on offense, it's really been Wilson Caesar Jr., but he actually did have a couple of games where he fumbled the ball. Like last game, he had 3 fumbles, and he's had games where he just wasn't there, and I can't contribute that to him. It's more of just like we're down by a lot of points, and running the ball just doesn't fit the game plan, and we kind of get away from it. But we played against, 3 bad teams to end this season, and we couldn't get 1 victory, and that was kind of how it went. Even versus the bad teams in our conference, we couldn't really do anything. And even our cornerbacks, at times we played well, like Trayvon Scott had a good year, but then there were times when we just gave up too many big plays. So we finished the season 1-11. We're going to recap the season here, go over the stats and everything. 0-8 in conference. We didn't even score 100 points this year. We gave up 596 yards. I mean, that is just crazy. We were dead last in the NCAA. And honestly, Pensacola didn't do too much better than us. They finished in the bottom 2. So at least we know we're rebuilding next to our rivals, and they're just as bad. They have to have a while to go as well. And it looks like it's going to be Houston and UCF in the conference championship. So we'll have to see how that game goes. Darrell Branch ends up winning. That's actually the Walker Award, I should say. Chris Olave. I tried to put some players in from real life into these rosters. Obviously, you can't do everybody. That would be overwhelming. There's also mods you can do to get the rosters and everything like that. But I decided to just crank this game up and play it and start the series. But the Conference USA is not the worst conference. I'm glad to say that, because if we were the worst conference and we were getting blown out like we did, that would have been a really bad look. But we end up being like I think the second best mid-major, I guess, conference, smaller conference, not a Power 5 conference. And we did pretty decent, I think, as a conference. So I'm not too mad at, how bad we got blown out. I knew it would be bad going into this year. But let's just look at the stats here. And it wasn't pretty throwing the football. There's not much to show here. We threw a lot of interceptions, only 2 passing touchdowns, both thrown by Winston. And I'm not even sure what's going to happen going into next year. We're probably going to end up probably trying to go after a quarterback or 2 in recruiting and see what we come up with there. Wilson Caesar Jr. was the only running back or only player to go over 100 yards this season. He had 482 yards, 4 touchdowns. Not a bad average per carry, though. 3.5 isn't too bad. Drackett had 81 yards on 28 attempts. He's a senior. He's going to be graduating. We tried to run a little bit of option with Takahashi. That didn't work out. He couldn't get anything. And believe it or not, Angelo West, who was sidelined after the 6th game of the season, ended up leading our team in receptions. That's how bad it was. Even after missing 6 games, he was still the leading receiver with 10 receptions. That's how bad we could not get our guys the ball at the receiver position and tight end position. Andrew Hilliard came around a little bit. He actually did have a decent season for basically what he was thrown at. I mean, we kind of just threw him in the fire after the last, 5 games or so. I kind of want to give him a shot, and he played pretty well at times. But then we had a ton of drops. I mean, we had more drops at times than catches. I mean, that is just the reality of this season, and that's definitely something we're going to have to work on. And the one thing I love about this game is training in the offseason. They get better, but also the spring drills, the summer drills. And I really like that because you can use those to get more boosts out of players. Because a lot of times in this game, when you do train in the offseason, your guys do not progress at all. Sometimes they don't even improve at all with summer training. It's really based on their potential rating. And I'm not sure what everybody's potential is on our current roster, but you can see in recruits what their potential will be. Now on defense, I actually like the season I saw out of guys like Taylor Jett. I think that he showed up. I'm not sure he will play safety next season. I might play him at linebacker. We'll have to see because he's kind of slow. So I don't want a guy that's too slow at safety because that's the last line of defense. And I want a guy that can, run down guys if they're breaking away and stuff like that. I'm definitely going to be looking for safeties in recruiting. And then a couple other guys I want to note. Obviously, there was Takahashi, who we played on defense. He just got burnt too much. I don't think he's going to play defense next year. Frazier actually had a really good season until he got hurt. I believe he missed the last 2 games. He had 2 interceptions on the year, but he's graduating. Goldenberg on the defensive line played well, along with Tesla Makinola. He was very good. But I want to point out the play of Jamal Charles. He was a very good nose tackle, and it's kind of hard to get stats as a nose tackle in this game, but he still did it. I mean, even games where, he had a big play in the backfield, it showed up. But I like Tesla Makinola. He's going into his senior year next year, but actually in the last, 5 or 6 games, he showed that he can make an impact. Even at 48 overall, he did lead our team in sacks with only 3, but he had 11 tackles for loss. That is very, very good. And looking at the rest of our players here, nobody really to know. I thought Logan Dupre was going to have a big year when he started out the year with a sack or 2, and then he kind of just fizzled out and it didn't end up being the same. But we'll have to see. I think every position is open come next year. I don't think anybody has a solidified spot. And I have some good freshmen that we recruited in the in-season recruiting that will come in and probably get some good playing time, maybe even start. Now let's take a look at Pensacola, because a lot of you guys that submit your recruits that you guys did last episode will be on Pensacola's roster, and you guys will be renamed to guys on that roster as well as ours, because we will follow their roster a little closer next year. I wanted to do it more this year, but I wanted this year to be more focused on our original players and also, storylines with that to go along with it. And we will continue those storylines into every single season, so you won't want to miss all of those. But then we look at our stat rankings. This is one thing I love about this game. They have stat rankings where you can see where you rank in the NCAA and in the conference. And it's not just offense and defensive stuff. It's also efficiency as well. You can see how efficient you were. So we look at defense. We were actually not too bad, and that's mainly because there's only 5-minute quarters. I think next season I'm going to bump that up to 6-minute quarters, because I think that now we'll probably have a better team going to next year, assuming that our freshmen are going to be better and assuming that, training improves us and then also the summer drills improve us. So we'll have to see. But one thing that really bothered me was red zone efficiency. We were dead last, and that kind of shows we couldn't even convert on 3rd down. We're dead last there. That shows me that tight end is going to be important. We need guys that can just get 4-yard receptions, 5-yard receptions, 6-yard receptions. And honestly, our offensive line, we can't even run the ball on a 3rd and 2 or a 3rd and 1 or a 3rd and 3 because our offensive line just gets absolutely destroyed. So I'm going to be looking for offensive line there. And then obviously we turned the ball over a whole lot, and that was just the talent gap. We just could not get rid of the ball. Our throws were not accurate, and that's just how season 1 went. So going into the offseason, we do have a couple of commits that we already want to note. Rodney Young is a center. He will start on the offensive line. I mean, I think there's no doubt he will start. A- awareness, so he's going to be a good player with good awareness. He's got average potential too, so I'm excited for that. Justin Patterson has I think he really has a high upside, to be honest with you. Good discipline. Field awareness is a B, and he runs a 4.55. At linebacker, that's very good. Now, Mike Frazier is going to be a guy that's probably going to develop really, really well because he's got good potential, 4.51. He can play cornerback as well. Who knows? But I think safety is going to be where he's going to play. And then Ryan Patterson, very good chain mover. I'm looking forward to having him, but he does have poor potential. I'm hoping to improve that. Maybe just through summer training, we'll have to train him that way. So that's going to do it here in season 1. I'm looking forward to the offseason, to be honest. I'm looking so forward to it because this season was a disaster. We ended up with a 6-game losing streak to end the season, 0-3 on televised games, no national games, but I'm looking forward to what we can do and to see which recruits that you guys submitted make it into this series. So hit subscribe, hit that like button. We'll be back for the offseason next episode. Stay tuned. Let's get it. Let's go.
Wave. I'm in it for keepsake. In the field with the cleat lace. Beat freak with the bare face and a slick tongue. That's what she say. She look good. She a big tease when she bite lip with the wink face. Hella bad when she throwing it back. She bring that my way for the team play. For Pete's sake, I'm above average. I patted my stat. I gotta matter what he say.